So what I think people have been waiting for is Bryson Tiller's Killer Instinct Part Two, The Nightmare Before. Now, granted, this did very much come out before Halloween, right? It came out very much before Halloween, but I think the hype around this mixtape, which Bryson Tiller, don't get me wrong, Bryson Tiller is amazing when it comes to mixtapes. Very much when it comes to mixtapes. Like, I was waiting for this mixtape to come out when I heard that he was doing a part two. However, it was dropped almost the last few hours before it was officially released, and the hype from the last one has grown. Like, people love the Killer Instinct series, and so he said he would release it, and everybody was happy. But as I said, like Killer Instinct 1 brought a lot of hype around it, and then Anniversary, and then this brings a lot of hype around it. But it's because he's being himself. Now, this is amazing for one reason. For a couple reasons. Vocally, this is one of his best. Lyrically, this could be his greatest. Right? Like, this could be his greatest mixtape because it's lyrical, but it's also vocal. And the production, I love. Thank you for all the producers that did this. Because I don't think there's only one producer. And as E-Dub would say, let's get it. We're going to get it right into this album right after a word from our sponsor. So, everything aside, how do I really feel about this Bryson Tiller project, right? So, how do I feel? So I'm putting all my biases aside because I'm a Bryson Tiller fan. This mixtape is a little different from the original Killer Instinct, the first one, in which this Killer Instinct has 13 songs, right? And people are like, oh, that's quite a long track list. Well, it's only 28 minutes long, so it's shorter than most albums and a lot of mixtapes. 13 minutes long. It has a few features of new artists, upcoming artists. And the second change was The Nightmare Before, because the first one was just called Killer Instinct, so this one is called Killer Instinct 2, then The Nightmare Before. And the ending, I think it's One Extra Call. I think that's the last call. I believe the last call is the One Extra Call from the original, from the first one. Anyways, let's get into the first call where where honestly, in the first call, he's honestly just talking to his future and present self, where he's saying, hey, I told you you were going to make it. And it's like, oh, crazy. He's like, oh, wow. Which I think is strange, but it's cool for his mixtapes. I enjoy it. Where he mentions, hey, that's cool. And his future self says, you need more gems, keep going. And maybe we need a new mixtape, right? So, to his future self surprise, we get a new mixtape. And the first actual song that we get is Fall in Love, right? Where he really is talking about how he's tripping about the lifestyle he is living currently. Which I think is true. I think when you get fame or you get money, you do kind of love that lifestyle. He became so popular at running Trap Soul that this makes sense. And he mentions his child. He says that his child is getting older, which is great to know, I guess, for some people. But it's also we've grown with him, kind of grown with his family now. Like, the music he's put out, we've learned more and more about him. He has mentioned the people around him are hating, but the lyric that he uses, some lames around me hating on me. So I'm assuming he means the people around him are hating on him. And they feel sick inside is the other lyric he uses. Which, they might feel sick inside because they're hating on me because he's doing so well. Bryson Tiller is doing extremely well for himself. The second song is called Money Dance, and we get an ad lib or a voice message that was put in production where saying that P Diddy, or I think he calls himself Love now, has says that he's a huge Bryson Tiller fan, and Bryson Tiller mentions 2 lines after he says, "Bad Boys is behind this," meaning Bad Boys. I believe he means the label Bad Boys that Diddy ran for a little bit. Could be wrong, but he says Bad Boys is behind this. And I think this is also very entertaining because we get the famous DJ E-Dubs ad-lib in here, and I think that's who the greatest DJ E-Dub. Like, I think that's so great, like the way it is put together. Like it's it's so, like, I miss when a Bryson Tiller track was put together, or a Wayne brother. DJ E-Dub, like, it's so great. But that's another conversation for another day. The third song is called Art of Storytelling, where he mentions to us about his story in 17, falling in love with rap, right? But he also says stuff, he's also mentioning facts about rap and hip hop. So, I mean, in between the two, he says that he wrote on a piece of paper about Trap Soul and gave it to somebody, and that's how we got Trap Soul. So I like that because Trap Soul is a good album, right? Like, I love Trap Soul. And he mentions that he's trying to get better at storytelling, but I think he's trying to get at a J. Cole level of storytelling, and I think he's there. He's partially there at storytelling, but he says he wants to get better at storytelling, which is everything I understand. Like, that is supreme. Like, the greatest storytellers of all times have most likely had been able to be the best in their class, which I think he is the best. And then the next song is called Kentucky, right? Where he's featuring Julius Keith. And I don't know a lot about Julius Keith, so I will put that out there ahead of time. But I think he bodied this song. He was great when he did the work that he did in the song. But we get to Bryson Tiller, and he's talking about a bunch of stuff from New York and rapping about New Orleans, and then running over running over rappers in New Orleans, which is great. Talking about Kentucky. Julius talks about and reference stuff about schools and scantrons. I don't know if a lot of people know about scantrons and how you put them in, how you had to fill in the bubble all the way and then put it into the machine. He mentions scantrons, and then he just says sleeping kilogram. Next song is called Gravity, where I think he's more aware that there's a lot of people that have become like critics of the R&B genre, saying that, we don't need these many artists. We got Chris, we got so many people. And I think this is where this line comes from. He says he's aware that some people are sick of him. She hates me, but she'll spend the night with me. Is what he said in one lyric after he says that they hate me. I think that basically means, in honest truth, she's not over you. You're not over her. Y'all still like each other, don't miss each other. But if you're in a toxic relationship where it just seems like that is a cycle, you can always end the cycle or try to end the cycle, because it's not really healthy. Plus, it can be mentally destructive. So if you want something like that, then go ahead. But a lot of people really don't. So I would just say, if you want to try, just try. And then we get into the second call, right? And the second call is where his self reminds him, hey, you doing a lot of rapping, right? You doing a lot of rapping, bruh. He's like, Bryce Dillon, you doing a lot of rapping, right? You're doing a lot of rapping. Don't forget you got R&B fans. And he says this, and I think this is what I'm waiting for both of these, but I like the rap side of this because he just says he's having fun. But he also says on his next album, he says, I'm just having fun. I'm doing myself. I'm working on his next album, and it's R&B, and I'm singing. So I think this mixtape was more for him to rap, for him to sing on the album when it releases, because we're getting it before. We're getting it before, what, next year? So I'd say, like, the middle of December. So I'm expecting Rose to drop, and then I'm expecting Bryson Tiller to drop that following week. So when Rose drops on the 10th, he's dropping that following Friday or Saturday. Might do Sunday, like a Kanye release. This next song is called On Top, where he just states that he's on top, right? Like, Bryson Tiller is an A-list celebrity, A or B-list celebrity. Like, he's on top, right? Like, he could do a bunch of shows and play the music he's done years, right? And it's still gonna be legendary to a lot of people, and it's still like he's there. Like, Trap Soul was good. Trap Soul was good. Cancel was good. Like, I think all of his albums so far, Anniversary was good, right? So he's saying to himself, okay, I'm one of the greats because people liked Trap Soul. People liked True to Self. People liked Anniversary. People liked all of my albums so far, and they liked all of them so far. So I'm at the top. I'm like the top R&B artist, and I think that might be because he did a song with Drake and Big Sean. But he's at the top. Like, it's very hard to be like, who's the top 3 R&B artists, and top 5, and Bryson Tiller not be in it. So he's on the top. He also mentions he had to cut a few close friends for the win. But the lyric is actually, I cut off a few of my day ones for the win. And you can't believe everything that rappers or the media shows, right? He says, I had a dream, but I was able to see the light. And he also says, and I think this was more of a flex kind of thing, or him just trying to be true to himself, but he says, I sent an invoice for $2 million. $2 million, and I'm pretty sure it was American dollars, but $2 million American dollar invoice, which is crazy to me. The next song is called Are You Listening? With this feature, I think it's Mars, where her vocals carry this track. And it's also very amazing to me that she is literally on this track, because I was surprised, right? Like, I look at track lists and I go, okay, what do I expect from this person? What do I expect from that person? But what did I expect was not this. I got vocals that I loved, right? I got lyrics that I can enjoy, lyrics that I don't feel ashamed to enjoy. And she says a lot of stuff about you can't get my number, like that, baby, and a lot of references like that. And I think it went well. While Bryson Tiller is more on their relationship, and their views are changing. Where he says, still, and well, still, like, he forced, like, it's so weird. He's like, I know your intuition, and going half on a baby nowadays isn't crazy, which I think is a weird standard where people are like, we don't necessarily need to be together to have a child, but making part of one and making part of another, genetically wise, isn't a bad thing, which I think is crazy, because you never know. You never know how the kid's gonna feel. But that's what the lyric says. So, but I think that is a discussion that you should have with the person you're in a relationship with, in a situationship with, or whatever you're in. I definitely would say listen and really ask them questions, because those questions are crucial if you want to know if they're listening or not, and hear you. Because if they don't hear you, they're not listening to anything you say, which is not a good, which isn't really a good thing in a relationship or a situationship or whatever, dealing with that person. That would be very toxic. That would be very toxic. The next song on here, right? I said it's a 13-song track. So this track list is very long. It's called Keep It Simple. And I think this sample, right? I think this sample and this beat are a song that Chris Brown did, right? And had used before. But as I said, this song is very short. Bryson Tiller says, he got your heart, see the way I walk, and you know when I get involved. And I think I've heard that beat before. Like, that beat is very specific to like a Chris Brown beat. But I like the way Bryson Tiller put his own twist on it, and I do kind of enjoy the Bryson Tiller's verse better. But if it's not, I'm gonna go look back to see, make sure it's the right Chris Brown song. But if you know the Chris Brown song, hey, let me know. But it is an amazing thing that he puts a twist on. The next song after that, because I said, Keep It Simple is a very short track. Granted, 13 songs in 28 minutes. All the songs really are really short. Like, there's no like 6 minute, 5 minute songs. These songs are very brief. Because like when I saw 13 songs, I expected, hey, this is gonna be an hour long, but it's only 28 minutes. Next song is called Bad Things, right? And this is like a breakup song between two people, because Bryson Tiller, he says, I didn't see the signs. Like, I didn't see the signs of this coming, this happening. He mentions lyrics about he or her or them only hitting him, only texting him or talking to him when he's at a higher place. When he wasn't doing what he was doing or being great or motivated, hey, they weren't really texting him. He was like at the bottom of her list. But now he's releasing stuff and doing things, or she's doing things, or they're doing things. They're at the top of that person's list, which is kind of weird, but it happens to a lot of people. That's sad, but it does happen, and it shouldn't happen. But depending on where your morals are. And he says that, and he says, like I said, he's a great storyteller. He says, she was wasting my time, but he could be wasting your time. They could be wasting your time. Just in general, don't let somebody waste your time, and make sure you see the signs, because he didn't see the signs. As in, this can be very toxic in a relationship, situationship. This can be a very toxic way where, hey, they're gonna change. They're probably not. Or, hey, they said they're gonna do better. They probably won't, or they're gonna slip. Somebody used to tell me that 6 months in, you're gonna know how somebody reacts, right? Like, they're not gonna keep it up for 6 months. Whatever, like, even if they're faking it, they're only gonna keep it up for 6 months. They're not gonna keep it up for a long time, which is possibly true. You know, possibly true depending on the person you're dealing with. Some people can do it longer than others. The next song is Ready to Play, right? But that's what I'm saying. Bad things happen. The song was called Bad Timing, but it's a breakup song. That's really what it is. It's like a breakup song where it's like, I didn't see the signs. I don't think we were perfect matches. You know, he's taking the blinders off. But now the next song is called Ready Player One, which I have to admit, this is funny. This is extremely funny. Okay, because one, there's a Mario ending at the end of this song. Yeah, spoilers alert. It's a Mario ending, like, game. It's so... It's the Mario game at the end. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't know why. But yeah. He also says he wants to run his money up. And another incredible lyric that he says is, I'm the candy man. So I guess he was like, say my name. Like, you say my name 3 times and I'm the candy man. Like, I'm gonna, I think it's funny, but it's also very creative. Bryson Tiller's part. As I said, I don't. Okay, so I won't even say this is the last song, but the last part of this mixtape is called The Last Call, where he really does talk, and says he's gonna get back to this album, and is singing related to a T. But he also wants to give shout outs to a lot of people, right? He gives features out to his sample, Mars, Julius, the producers that were able to put these together, the samples. He says, without the samples or without the producers, this would never happen. But he also says he wants to thank his boys or the guys he's around, because he said that at one point he didn't want to do it. He said, yeah, I'm not going to do it, but one of his guys told him, one of his friends told him that, yeah, you should keep doing it. And I think this is the thing. Bryson Tiller is a hungry person. When this mixtape comes out, when this mixtape is out, when you hear it, it's like, yo, he is a very hungry person. Like, we understand. He's hungry. He wants that Bryson Tiller energy, which I can totally understand. Hey, when you're hungry, you want to go for it. You want to go. You don't want to hold nothing back, and that's great. It's a great mindset to have, right? So that is the end of Killer Instinct. Nightmare Before. And as I said, this did come out before Halloween. You can find it almost anywhere. But if you want like the whole list, let me know in the comments, or hey, in a discussion, just let me know. Even in the comments or something, or in the Q&A, or hey, email me and I'll let you know. Contact my business email and I'll just say where I got the mixtape from. But overall, I do like this. I do prefer this hungrier Bryson Tiller. So this is a 9.2 out of 10 just because he's hungry. Bryson Tiller is hungry, and I like this.